Well, at 6:30 tonight, we'll have the regular season ACC champions. UNC and Duke will face off in Cameron. What will that mean for both programs as they head into the ACC tournament? We'll talk about that all here on today's episode of Locked on ACC.
You are Locked on ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked on ACC. I'm your host, Candace Cooper, joined by Kenton Gibbs of Locked on Wolfpack. Each and every day, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you download, subscribe to the pod from any of your audio spaces, as well as our YouTube channel, where you can leave comments, join our community, and really kick things off. On today's episode, we are going to talk through some UNC Duke, as I mentioned, but we'd be remiss if we did not tell you about every new potential hire that can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find those right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege. Terms and conditions do apply. All right, Kenton, it might not be your favorite topic as there's two teams that you could do with or without, but UNC Duke are facing off today at 6:30 for those who are really into college hoops for a chance to be the regular season champions outright for Carolina or share with Duke. So there's that. But beyond that, ACC tournament is around the bend, and I just know you're excited because you feel like there's going to be a bid steal from those Wolfpack. But let's talk about the Heels and the Blue Devils right now. It's 199th time. No, I'm just kidding. It's the 1,033rd time they're meeting. Points are damn near the same. The energy is the same. It's always throughout the record books. How are you feeling about this particular matchup going into Cameron Indoor?
First thing first, I got more faith that my dad is coming back from getting that gallon of milk than I got faith in NC State pulling off a bid steal here. But more importantly, this Battle of the Blues, this is what the Battle of the Blues is about. Battle of the Blues is not about, it's never about the first game. Nobody ever remembers the first game, let's just be honest, unless it's like a immense blowout one way or another. But second of all, this is what the Battle of the Blues is about because all of the marbles are being played for. Nobody likes sharing a championship. It's un-American, for Christ's sake. We don't, in the major American sports, did you know that none of them can end in a tie anymore? Not a single one of them. Football, basketball, baseball, hockey can't end in a tie. Somebody needs to come out on top. So to end the season, potentially tying your rivals for the regular season championship. You know, everybody describes a tie as kissing a hot girl that happens to be your cousin. It's a you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. It's gross. You just don't want it. So this matchup here, again, the pageantry, the rivalry, another chapter in just such a rivalry that it means so much nationally and to the ACC. Just another great chapter loading.
Yeah, 100%. I think, with Armando Bacot being in year 5, having it be his last year, like actually, truly, he'll be gone. RJ Davis having the season that he's had, and Duke sort of flying under the radar, having good moments, quality wins, but it's definitely not been the Duke of old, right? They are not the, national powerhouse. They don't have that one player who stands out that people have come to love to hate. It's just not the same Duke, but still a very good Duke team. They have the advantage because they got to have some pride about them. They gotta win this one.
I disagree. I think the nation has come to hate Kyle Filipowski in a very, very – the court storming thing was like – it was bad, but when he played the next game after they said, oh, we think that he has a high ankle sprain or we think that it's a knee thing, and it's like –
he just missed the drama class that day because he didn't learn that if you're going to sell it, baby, you got to sell it. And if you don't sell it, you can't play right after, and not only play right after, but play Louisville, the worst team in college basketball.
It's like trying to collect a workers' comp settlement, and then going in a powerlifting competition the next day. You're gonna look crazy every time. Every time.
I guess I could agree there, but for me, Duke, like you're gonna have to play for Kyle, who this has to be his last year because ain't no need for you to come back. Yeah. You have to play for Jeremy Roach, who's about to get himself ready to go over to Argentina. Like you have to have some pride about you in order to go out one good time for your top players. No.
Say, buddy, better learn some vosotros. That's crazy. That's crazy. But with that being said, I really do think, I don't think that this will be the last time. I mean, obviously, it's Duke, North Carolina. We just saw that Duke picked up one of the literally biggest recruits in the next class, 5-star, 7-1 center. That's a part of the Basketball Africa. That's part of the Basketball Africa program with the NBA. I don't think that this is going to be the last time that we see this rivalry mean a ton. However, this is a moment where, again, every time you can win a championship and you can say, we beat y'all for it. We didn't beat Virginia for this championship. We didn't beat Louisville. We didn't beat NC Stank, as Theo, Pinson refers to state that. We didn't beat them for it. We beat you. We walked into your trap in Cameron Indoor Stadium, and we took over your trap in Cameron Indoor Stadium. This is going to be one of those games. It feels like we're setting up for a Battle of the Blues for the ages.
Does it feel like that? Because to me, it's hard to really ever come back from the Coach K finale in Cameron Indoor and how Armando did that. Like, mind you want to beat your rival every single time, but it just doesn't have the same luster to me. Because it's like you did the unthinkable. Not only did you beat them at home, Coach K's last big one, where all of his alumni were in that building. But then
Very
you did
lame,
it,
by the way. Very lame.
Then you did it in the Final Four, right? So I think that's where I'm having a hard time feeling like this is so serious, because how much do regular season championship matter? Of course it matters and all the things, but like this to me is just another game to where you're having you hate the guys, on the other side of the court, so you might as well just beat them if you could, but don't stress yourself out.
Well, as Meek Mill said, there's levels to this, right? It's levels to this thing.
He cannot reference on this show. Not right now. My boy
ain't got nothing to do with me. Ain't got nothing to do with me, okay?
The dream is turning into an, in fact, nightmare.
Now, it's like I said about the Miami and Florida State football rivalry, right? It's a great rivalry. It's one of the most storied in all of college football. It's not Michigan, Ohio State. It's the same thing, right? This is a very big chapter in the Battle of the Blues. It's not the putting Coach K out of his misery like that. It's not the sending him off the pasture with a, hey, buddy, go ahead and take an L in your last game in Cameron, and we're gonna give you another L in the Final Four. So your last games ever, your last ACC game ever, and your last game coaching ever, your last tournament game ever, both gonna be L's to the Dirty Foot Club. Ooh, hate it.
So Carolina comes into this game 24-6 on the season. Duke Blue Devils same 24-6, right? 16-3 for the ACC, 15-4 for Duke. I mean, you can't write the script better than that. They'll play at 6:30. It's -5.5 for Duke, right? The under is 150. Do you feel like it's going to be a low-scoring game, high defensive, octane from Cormac Ryan and company and Harrison Ingram, or do you think that is going to be bucket after bucket?
I will say the same thing I said about the first one. If Duke wants a shot, they've got to slow it down, make this a half court. This needs to be ugly, nasty. We need to clog up the lane and we need to make every bucket hard type of game. If it is a track meet on hardwood, congratulations on the sole possession of your ACC championship, and congratulations on sweeping the Duke Blue Devils.
Right. So the two top 10 teams, Carolina at number 7, Duke at number 9, and 15-2 at home for Duke. So to me, the Blue Devils, they're familiar with having to win in Cameron. They do that best, in fact, right? It's just on the road is where they tend to struggle. Carolina, a team that often on the road is not the best, but this is different. It's down the street. They're familiar. How do we feel like the energy is going to be, considering, like I said, it's Jeremy Roach's last game, potentially Cal Filipowski's last game after all he's been through this season? Do you think it's going to be a Jared McCain show? That boy is going to go off. He's going to remind you guys why he's here. Proctor's going to go off. Like, if you could just give me one person who's going to be like that X factor before we get into key matchups.
Well, I don't want to use X factor and the key matchups on the same guy. So I think that the X factor in this one to me is going to have to be the Duke bench. It's going to have to be the Duke bench. I think that the way that they play this thing, is going to determine whether or not they win this game. Because 1-for-1, pound for pound, starter for starter, I think they lack a little bit to UNC. However, the key to beating UNC is not about your starters being better. We know UNC only runs about 6, 7 deep at deepest. Like, come on, if you can make it tough on those first 5, you can make it really tough on them. You got a really good shot, and that only happens when your depth can also come in and hold water. Because UNC generally blows the doors off when those depth pieces get in, and Armando Baker's like, oh, I got a freshman center on me that's about 6'8", 240. It's time for me. It's macaroni time. It's time to get in what I need. So I think the Duke's bench is going to be pivotal in this one.
I'm going to talk through my favorite and X factor here in just a bit, but Fire TV is your destination for sports from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing experiences with smart TVs as well as a Fire Stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or college basketball, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. Make sure that you go to www.amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV to learn more today. So my X factor here, right? The person that I truly think is going to have the game of his life. We've talked about a young man named Caleb Love, right? Who always came into Cameron and had his way. RJ, here you go, buddy, right? We've been hyping you up all season. You have damn near had National Player of the Year conversations. This is the one where all that's on the line, whether it's the record books not tying it, not having the same record at the end of the season with your arch rival. Like, this is the game where you take over and remind folks of why you are the best player out there on the court and arguably have been all year.
So let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. Does RJ Davis lose the ACC Player of the Year if he throws a stinker out there in this game?
Lose to whom?
Okay, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking because I was hearing a lot of people say, "Oh, this is the game where he has to prove he's the ACC Player of the Year," and I said, "It's too late now. Nobody else is in
comparison to whom?"
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because it can't be Kyle Filipowski. Like, it would have to be a Duke guy, right? And you're not going to give it to Tyrese Proctor. You're not going to give it to Jeremy Roach. You're not going to give it to Jeremy Kane. So, like, let me know who. Mark Mitchell, like, who is the guy?
I mean, listen, I'm with you when you're right.
If you give it to Armando, that's kind of corny to me. But, that's a whole nother story, another day. Key matchups that we have here going into UNC Duke tonight's game at 6:30 p.m. Make sure you check that one out. Kyle Filipowski and Armando Bacot. Big on big has definitely been an exciting one. We have seen some moves to where Kyle definitely has given Armando the business, but Armando comes away with the W. So you can have great moves, but can you get the ball in the basket? That's all that matters. And I think sometimes Kyle, gets tripped up by those things. Everything but the bucket has been him lately.
Y'all see what Candace did there? She said he gets what? Tripped up. You see, the petty just doesn't leave. It just doesn't leave this UNC Duke rivalry. It don't matter how far removed you are. Complete
accident, no pun intended.
Yeah. Oh, the tripping was also a complete accident now. You see how she does it. But anywho, there are so many matchups to watch in this thing, and I think you gotta, in the words of Miss Vicki Green, one of my favorite teachers of all time, she said the best predictor of future behaviors is the past. And when I look at the past, when I look at how this game went before, I said to myself, where was the deciding factor? Where was the deciding edge in this game? And it comes down to one very, very simple thing for me. Harrison Ingram versus whoever the hell is going to be guarding him and responsible for keeping him off the boards. Yeah. That's going to be the matchup. Because if Harrison Ingram can do what he did in that first game, can be not only effective, but look like a downright superstar in this game, is going to be Katie Diggs at the doorstep for UNC. But if Duke can find a way, be it by committee, be it one man, be it somebody said, hey, I got him. Wherever he goes, I'm going. If he goes to the bathroom, I'm going to shake it for him. Then you're looking at a situation where Duke may come away with a win.
I feel bad for his sister who plays volleyball at Duke. I'm like, what are you wearing today? That's the things that go through my head as a girl. Like, are we wearing your brother's jersey? Are you wearing your team issued, equipment stuff? Or like, what are we wearing today? That's my ADHD moment of the episode. But also,
blood is thicker than a degree. You got to wear your brother's stuff. You got to.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know why you would go to a UNC versus Duke thing, but like the decisions were made. Now, another key matchup that we don't really talk about that's not necessarily on the court is Hubert Davis versus John Shire, right?
Yeah.
Because, Hubert Davis has coached his behind off in some of these UNC Duke matchups. He's made some adjustments that, for all intents and purposes, a lot of people, bash him about, or he's not really good at in-game coaching and all the different things. But for these Duke UNC matchups, he's found a will and a way, and he's certainly done some second half kind of shifts that have put Carolina in position to win. John Shire, you're at home. A lot of people don't question you, right? Don't say anything bad about you. They haven't really critiqued you that much. How essential is this game for him in his career as he continues to climb?
I'll tell you this much. If John Shire doesn't want to be known as the Ryan Day of the ACC, you got to win this one. You got to win this one. You got to start beating UNC. You cannot. This is that type of rivalry. It's the same way, and I'm glad that I used the reference of Ryan Day here, because it's the same way that, like, at Ohio State, you can't lose to the school up north, as they call them. It's the same thing here. At Duke, you cannot lose to UNC consistently. You cannot have Hubert, spanking the baby, putting you to sleep wherever it is, be it in the Dirty Foot Dome, be it in Cameron. It don't matter. You can't have that. You just can't. And so with that in mind, I would advise very strongly, very, very strongly, Shire, you need to get some gumption about you. You need to get some oomph about you. You need to put some oomph in it. You know what I mean? You need to put some stank on it and get yourself a win here.
I completely agree. I think this is going to be very telling of just how people respond to this win or loss for him is going to be very telling. Like, yes, you guys won the ACC tournament last season, but it really doesn't boil down to much, because ACC tournaments for UNC and Duke at this point are a dime a dozen. It's just, another day at the office. But these very much so matter. So I completely agree there. Regular season championship is on the line. I think that regular season championships, as I just mentioned about ACC tournament championships for both teams, is like cool, but it's almost an expectation. What is the mindset that you have if you're Duke, if you beat and have to share the title with North Carolina?
I'd be excited. I just kept my rival from hanging a banner, because Lord knows you're not hanging a banner for co-ACC champs, are you? You wouldn't do that. The ceiling is the roof, and your roof is star-studded with national champion, All-American, all that good stuff. You can't put co-ACC regular season champs up there. That's beneath you, and it's beneath us. But you know what I always say. Sometimes if you can't go to the party, the best thing you can do is spit in the punch bowl. So that's what Duke wants to do. They want to drop a big loogie in the punch bowl for UNC. They want to make sure that nobody gets to hang a banner if we can't hang a banner.
Thank you so much for that visual. Like, without that, I don't know if I would have made it through the entire episode. Like, I'm so grateful.
You're welcome.
All right. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right at the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats that might not have the time or resources to hire. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within hours. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all of that while making the process easy and intuitive. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free today. Terms and conditions do apply. So in here with this, not only is Duke UNC implicative of the regular season champions, but we head into the number 1 seed for the ACC tournament, and I just feel like it's going to be a good one. I can't outright tell you North Carolina is going to win the ACC tournament because we've seen them fall. I can't right out tell you that Wake Forest is going to come in and do the doozy because, sometimes they have hiccups. It really is anyone's tournament on any given day. We've seen a Virginia Tech team come in and play like they should have probably played all season and end up with a W. So when it's all said and done, who are your X Factor teams that you think people are sleeping on?
this year in the ACC was so interesting because there were so many teams that on a regular year or in previous years where the ACC was respected as the basketball conference that we are, they'd be for sure in. But I think you got one of the two in Wake Forest. The other is Pitt. Because, I mean, Henson and company, when they're at their highest clip, they can beat anybody. They've shown it. They've shown it. They've stood on the stanchions and stood on people's tables and said, I'm Rick James, F your couch. and they earned the right to do so. Those are both teams that they know without winning this tournament, they're likely NIT at best. Mm-hmm. And so it's both of those teams will be playing a different level, with a different level of urgency, with a different level of fight, with a different level of like, hey, in the words of NBA Youngboy, I said I need it. I need it, okay? And so we'll see who comes out on top. But those are two teams that if you're not looking at the favorites, those are some teams to watch out for.
1,000%. And of course, we've had an ACC women's tournament happening throughout the week. If you have not had an opportunity to check that out, please make sure you do. Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, Florida State, and NC State are the last standing in the semifinals. They'll face off today. Notre Dame and Virginia Tech will face off at noon on ABC, and then Florida State and NC State will face off at 2:30 on ACC Network. Listen, that Florida State team, telling you what, better come correct. That upset of Syracuse, it's like, all right. I'm not mad at it. And I think for Notre Dame and Virginia Tech, it sucks not having Elizabeth Kitley. That's your key factor. But good on you for making it this far in spite of. That Notre Dame team, Georgia Amore versus Hannah Hidalgo, that's going to be a good one.
I have one thing to say because we started off the episode talking about the two teams that I didn't care much for in the Triangle, and I've neglected the fans a little bit in my duties. I've been derelict in my duties as a host, but I'm back with the signs now, baby. There's only one team from the Triangle still in the ACC tournament on the women's side. This is the Wolfpack. How about that Wolfpack? But now, with that being said, you have to stop that combo of Latson and Timkins over there at Florida State. You cannot win a game if those two are going off. Latson came into the season, I believe through the first 3 or 4 games, averaged 30 points per game, including a loss against NC State, but she still got hers. Okay, let's make it very clear. She wasn't stopped. She was just slowed down a little bit. But the thing that NC State did well was they kept Timkins off the glass and they kept her in check in terms of scoring as well. So that's what you have to do to beat a Florida State. NC State, to beat them, it's getting them to be non-motivated. It's making sure that if they go into a game where they sleepwalk, you jump on them early. Every game that they've lost this season, I believe they either lost or only won the first quarter by 3 points or less. So when you keep within striking distance, you got a shot. But when you let that team jump on you early, you got some problems. Now, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, what a time. Coach Ivey, Coach Brooks, two of the more celebrated in our conference, two of the ones that you look at and say, man, this one is going to be one of those games. And I'll tell you this much. Both of these teams are down superstars. No Kitley, no Miles. The only difference is Miles has been out all season, right. So they've had time to adjust and adapt. Kitley, very much so a new development. However, you pointed it out just right. It's going to be Amore. It's going to be Hidalgo. Amore, the savvy old veteran. She's taken time. She's come along. She's done the thing. She's gotten better every year. She's added something new to her bag every year. Hidalgo, the hot upstart, the defensive player of the year, ACC rookie of the year. Hey, if you leave your cookies out, she's coming to take them real nice and smooth, okay? She is a pickpocket extraordinaire. And so these are going to be two absolutely phenomenal semifinal games.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think, if you need some good basketball, some good fundamental, hard-hitting, strong defensive basketball, some solid offense, you're definitely going to want to tune into these games. And, it's crazy because the women that lost throughout the week, still great teams that we're going to see in the NCAA tournament. And I think that just really speaks to where we are as an ACC or conference for college basketball on the women's side. So I'm excited to see some teams. Other teams, I'm going to need some seniors to go about their way. Because if you can't pass the ball,
here we go.
If you can't pass the ball in double coverage, I'm blending my terms here. If you are guarded by two people and you have a fellow senior wide open and you can't pass the ball, it might
Say
be
the girl
time.
name. Say the girl name. Don't
Nah,
sneak
I'm
this.
all right.
Don't sneak this.
I'm all
Don't
right.
sneak this.
She gonna listen to the fast 5 minutes of the show and she gonna find a way. And her mama gonna tweet me, and that's all right. But it's unfortunate. Okay?
All I'm saying is this.
I would have to call my teammate to apologize.
I made a joke about Deja Kelly never seeing a contested mid-range shot she didn't like. Okay, I said that a contested mid-range shot to her is like a tall, thick black woman to me. She gonna shoot the shot every time. And yet the next day against NC State, she put up one of her career highs in assists. And in this game, that contested mid-range shot was there. 2 folks on her, 2 chains, no bracelet. The defense said Cubans on Cubans. We defending in legs, girl. And she still put up the shot anyway.
No gloves. Like that's what I wanted to say.
That was tough. That was real tough. But
horrible to watch. But
I'm sure Day Wilson was excited, being that she's a former Dookie, to go over and then take care of UNC in the tournament. I'm sure that was a great moment for her.
Like I said, I'm ready for some of our seniors to go about their way. Armando's right there. I'm ready. I want him to go out with one big cahoot. Go ahead and do your thing.
They're not going to allow you back for the alumni day when they do homecoming.
They already don't, and that's fine. All right, as we end today's episode, make sure you guys check out next week as we get ready for men's ACC tournament. We'll start talking about women's NCAA tournament and all the fun things. You don't want to miss any episodes here at Locked On ACC, so make sure you leave us a nice review. Tell us how much you love us, all the 5 stars, all the things. For Candace Cooper and Kenton Gibbs, we hope you have a great Saturday,